My inheritance is taking too long. This is a question that we actually get on a regular basis because heirs are very upset that mom or dad passed away last month. It's been 30 days and they have still not received their share of mom or dad's assets. First, I think there's a problem if you are that desperate, that's my opinion, to have your loved one who's just passed away to have their assets immediately. But second, a lot of times it's just the process. Many times a probate hasn't even been started. I've told you in many other videos that probates can last 4 to 6 months. And if you're just a month in and the probate hasn't even started, then you still have a long way to go. And a lot of that is statutory. So whether you want your money today or not, it really doesn't matter. Whoever becomes a personal representative has to follow the law and go by the statutory deadlines. So it might be a little while before you get your inheritance. The executor is stealing all of the estate's assets. This comes up a lot where an heir, whether it's a son, daughter, brother, sister, whoever it is, they think that whoever the executor or the personal representative is, that they are stealing the estate assets on purpose. In other words, they're using it for their own personal use, or they took out money and they went on a vacation. It could be just a coincidence that they actually went on a vacation. Now, there are absolutely cases where that does happen, where an executor or a personal representative has stolen from the estate. But you need to make sure that they are actually doing it. You need to delve deeper into the estate's inventory. If you think that somebody is doing that, then request an inventory of the estate. See where what's coming in, what there was, what money is going out. They have to show everything by law in almost all jurisdictions. I'd be surprised if there's one where they don't have to show that. They have to show what money came in, what money there was, and where it's going. Now, if they really did take it, that's a different issue. That's a crime. That's embezzlement of the estate assets. But a lot of times, I'd say 99% of the times, it's just the heirs not understanding the process of what's going on and the probate just taking a while because of statutory requirements and statutory deadlines that have to be met first. The trustee won't give me my money. This comes up a lot, and we've talked about it in other videos where a parent, mother or father, will appoint maybe their son or daughter as the trustee of their revocable living trust. And you guys all know how much I like revocable living trust as an estate planning method. The problem comes in, though, when you choose somebody who is not really good with money or is going to be prone to fighting with the other family members, or maybe is just is not a nice person. That happens sometimes too. So if you know your sons and daughters better than anybody else, so you need to pick somebody who is going to be a true fiduciary, somebody who has an absolute allegiance to the trust, to distribute assets, to do everything according to the terms of the trust. And if your son or daughter is not one of those people, then don't pick them. There are people out there that do this for a living. There are other friends that you might be able to tap on to serve in that capacity. But if you have a son or daughter who is not good with money, who never had a job of their own, and has always been dependent on you or somebody else for their money, then they are probably not a good candidate to be a trustee of your trust. You need to pick somebody who you implicitly trust, who will get the job done, protect your assets, and distribute trust assets, and do what you want, what you've written in that trust document. What if there is nobody that I can trust to be the trustee of my trust? A lot of trust in there, and that is actually the key. You have to trust implicitly the person that you pick to be your successor trustee of your revocable living trust, or even the executor of your last will and testament. These have got to be people who you know are going to be able to get the job done. If they're easily swayed by another family member, or if they're prone to get into arguments with other people, if they're not good with money, then all of those reasons are red flags on why you should not pick that person as your successor trustee or as your executor of your last will and testament. You have to be able to trust these people implicitly. And if you can't, do not pick them. My brother will not participate in the probate of mom's estate. This is a question that actually comes up a lot. You wouldn't think so, but think about it this way. There's actually two reasons. One is probates are an emotional process. Mom or dad or some other loved one has just passed away usually, and that's hard on the rest of the family. And a lot of people don't want to think of it or come to terms with it yet. Everybody has a different way of how to grieve and what that grieving process can be. I know there's experts out there that say grieving goes in certain steps, but everybody does those steps, if that's truly the case, at their own pace and maybe in a different way. And so you cannot expect somebody, a brother or sister, to absolutely want to participate in the probate of mom's estate if they don't want to. Now, the problem comes in is because that's usually a lot of work. It is a lot of work to be an executor or personal representative of an estate. The law has actually thought of that and provided that whoever serves in that role usually is entitled to compensation. It's usually statutory on what that dollar amount is. That doesn't compensate the personal representative or executor for having to deal with other family members, for having to deal with the stress of selling properties, with having to deal with the stress of dealing with creditors, having to go to court. That in itself is very stressful. Most people never go to court in their entire life. They have to show up for a probate. And that can be very disconcerting for a lot of people. The other reason that I think people do not participate in the probate of mom or dad's estate is because they are just mad at their other brothers and sisters. They realize that by not participating, especially if real estate needs to be sold, personal items need to be sold, or there has to be things that need to be consented to by all the heirs, they realize that if they don't participate, it's going to make everybody else mad. It's going to cost the estate more money, and they're doing it on purpose because they're jerks. There's no other way to say it. And if that's the case, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot you can do if they just refuse to participate. It's everybody's decision, like I said, whether if you're grieving and you don't want to participate because of that, and if you don't want to participate just because you're a jerk, or maybe you don't want to participate because you just have no interest in it. If you don't want to be part of mom or dad's estate, those are all your decisions.